And I am the 4-H agent in Spalding County. And we do our whole curriculum for 5th grade on Project Achievement. We're lucky in the fact, or maybe not lucky in the fact, that we go to the Douglasville Project Achievement competition, and that's the last one. But several years ago I went to a February one here at Rock Eagle, and my teacher said, ever do that to us again, because my teachers, the majority of my teachers, are very supportive of this, and they require this as a grade for the 5th graders. So I said, you know, if we have more that will participate, then we are willing to go to the last Project Achievement, and that way we can teach the whole thing before we go, and hopefully they'll be better prepared, because we haven't spent 1 month trying to push everything into doing a project. So in September we have our organizational meeting, and we have our fair come up, and we have a lot of things to do in the fair, so we're pushing fair stuff in September. So in October we start with Project Achievement, and first of all we talk about what is Project Achievement and what they will be doing. They've got to choose a topic, they've got to do a research it and write a report, and then in February they're going to give an oral presentation during their meeting when we're there for 4-H. So we start talking about, first of all, choosing a project. Okay, you've got to think about things when you're choosing a project. First of all, you've got to think about what is something that interests you. Okay, what's something that you like to do?
Me?
Shop, okay? That's a good project area. You know, you can do something on fashion, and if you want to, if that's something that you like to do, is shop. Okay, what's something else somebody likes to do? Crafting. Okay, great. You can do a craft project. So most anything that you can think of, you can do a project on. So you're thinking about what occupies your time. If you're busy actually doing something that occupies your time, have an extracurricular activity that occupies your time, playing the piano, doing a sport, anything like that, consider what you know about that topic, and also what could you do to learn more about it. It may be something that you just thought about and thought, well, I'd like to know more about that, but never have had the time to actually learn about it, and this would be a good project area for you to do. When you're thinking about your project, you also need to consider your audience, because you're going to be giving this in front of the group. So you need to think about how you can connect with your audience, how they can understand your topic, and make the topic interesting, because if somebody is standing up here and they're not going to make it interesting, then your audience is going to be bored. So you need to think about that. Then we start talking about project areas, and we do a web, and we have a web to give out to them. After we start talking about that, we try to do a topic that is not one of those popular topics. We use the Get Your Game On curriculum, but it is geared towards sports. So we've taken away the sports aspect of it, because every kid that sees it will do it on sports if you use that. So we have a watershed program assistant in our office, so we have geared everything toward water, and that will fall in those project areas that not so many of them do. So hopefully it will show them there's other things besides dogs and sports and wildlife projects, so and it's help. And so we talk about, all right, put what's your topic, what you want to do. You would put fashion, or you would put crafts in there. and then go and how can you narrow that down, because it's got to be something specific that you're going to give your project on. And at this point, I may bring up sports and say, okay, you can't give a demonstration on sports. Think about how many sports there are. There's basketball, and there's football, and there's tennis, and there's golf, and there's all these sports. So that's too broad a topic. You got to bring it in. Okay, I want to do it on football. Well, think about all the things in football. You've got to continue to narrow it down and think about things. You might could talk about the equipment you use in football, or the safety in football, or the positions, what positions are there in football. So you got to think about that. And water, we've got here, water is food for health. Could be something that you could focus on there and talk about how to hydrate your daily needs and how much water is in your body. Or you could talk about conservation and think about the things of using conservation, but on and on like that. So then that is in the Get Your Game On curriculum. That is one lesson, but we have 3 months. There's 6 lessons in there, so we have to kind of combine the lessons. So from there, when we start talking about thinking what you want to do for your project, and then start researching it. That's a lot poster. But you got to research your project, and we talk about places that you can go to research your project: books, magazines, the web, credible TV shows, things like that. And we do talk about credible websites. Not all, as you may or may not know, not all websites are credible.
It's on the internet.
That's right. If it's on the internet, it should be correct. But we talk about if you go to a website with .com or .net, that may not have information that has been researched or is credible, that you want to look for the edu or the org, because that's probably going to be a site where you've got professionals that have researched information in those areas. And being sure that you watch TV programs that are also like that. My all-time funniest demonstration is when a child got up and started talking about penguins, and she said, and when you have a penguin, you got to have a cold room. And well, okay, cold room. And then she goes, and a pillow for it. And so she had watched a program on TV about penguins, and this person had a pet penguin, and they had put it in a cold room with a pillow. So, you know, the teachers already knew about this, and they're over there dying laughing at me because I'm looking like, okay, what's going on here? But talking to them about, you know, this has got to be correct information. You've got to research your project and get correct information. So those are the 2 things that we bring out in our October club meeting, is picking your project and start researching it. Okay. So when we come back in November, we kind of do a little review. We start asking them, okay, have you picked a project? What's your project going to be? Usually the teacher will give them a deadline to give her the name of the project. We tell them, you've got to pick a project, you've got to tell your teacher what your project is and get it approved. Because if when given your project, if you're wanting to bring things to talk about, it can't be something that's against school rules to bring to school, things like that. So your teacher has to approve your project. So she usually gives them a deadline. They may or may not at the second meeting have completely decided what they want to do their project on. But at that time we start talking about writing their project, and they have they can give a demonstration to persuade. And what would be something that you could give a presentation on to persuade?
Don't text while driving.
Okay, very good. Taking a stand on not texting and driving. That would be a good persuasive type of demonstration. To inform, it could be on a famous person and you're telling about their life. Or to just entertain, it could be, performing arts where they're dancing and they're not really talking about dance, but they're performing and entertaining you. So those are the different types of speeches. Okay, then we talk about what are the parts of a speech. And I have little things that I give out.
So you're still in your November meeting?
This is November.
So you do your purpose and your
Okay, so we have several parts to a speech. We have three main parts to a speech. And hopefully, by this time, the teachers have already been working with them on their writing assessment, and they pretty much know what the three parts of the speech are. So can anybody tell me what the first part of a speech is?
Introduction.
Okay, introduction. Who has introduction? If you'll go ahead and put this up. And in our introduction, does anybody know what you're supposed to do in an introduction? Anybody got any guesses?
define your purpose.
Okay, you're introducing yourself and your topic. And you want to do this in an interesting way. It's not going to be very interesting if I get up and say, "Hi, I'm Cherry Hovetter, and I'm going to talk to you about water today." Okay? Got to make it interesting. "Hi, I'm Cherry Hovetter, and do you know what goes down your drain?" Something like that. Something to get their attention. All with us being part of the University of Georgia, if they want to give one on dogs and say, "Who let the dogs out?" and start like that, just something that's going to get their attention, asking a question or making a statement, or we got so many songs now that relate to things that we talk about. They can pull those kind of things to get an interesting comment to get the audience's attention. Okay, what else? Once we do our introduction, what else do we need? The body. Okay. And in the body, this is the most important part of your demonstration. And using your Friends magazine, it was up here a minute ago. Yeah, a second. Okay. You can pull out their Friends magazine. This is a good month to give the Project Achievement Friends magazine. And let them look at that page where they're using their hands so that they can remember as they're working on their project that, okay, I've done my introduction. I've got to have 3 points in the body where I'm actually talking about giving information about my topic. So information. Okay, and then once we have talked about our 3 main points, then what do we do? We conclude. Yay! And in our conclusion, what do we do?
Wrap it up.
We wrap it up. We don't just say, and water goes down the drain, and just you're waiting for more. You've got to conclude it. You got to say, so today we have talked about so and so and so and so. So remember, don't turn off the water so it doesn't go down the drain and you're wasting it, or something like that. Come up with a closing statement. Okay. So we have just built a hamburger. Okay. How many of you like plain hamburgers, bread and a piece of meat on it? Okay. We like more stuff on our hamburgers. And what would be something that one of you has that would go on this hamburger? Descriptive words. Okay, if you will come up and put descriptive words right here. when we have our demonstrations, we want not just plain old words, we want to put some descriptive words in there, colorful words. Okay, what else do we need?
Visual theme.
We need visual theme, okay? And that's what we're doing right now. You won't have something where you're actually getting people out of the audience to come up, but you're going to have a poster that they can look at that's going to relate to what you're talking about. So you want a visual theme. And what else?
Expression.
Expression, okay? Don't just get up here and act like you're bored to death giving your demonstration, because if you're bored, then your audience is going to be bored. So you want to have all these things, and then we have a full, very flavorful, say the word today, hamburger to eat, and that's what you're going to do with your demonstration. Okay, then, since we're short on time, I had the first group go. I have a demonstration that we have written out completely. We have the introduction, the 3 main points, and we've all got it on different paper. So we have one that's got the introduction on it. See it? Let me see if I can. We started off with, did you know that the average home uses more than 200 gallons of water per day? So that's our attention getter. And then we have 3. We're going to talk today. We're going to talk about water use in the kitchen, the bathroom, and outside. And then we've got the information about that on there. And then we've got water conservation is for everyone, everywhere. Today we have discussed conservation methods in using water in the kitchen, the bathroom, and outside the home. Water conservation. Save a drop, it's a lot. And we take this and we call for volunteers. We get this out and we say, okay, y'all look at this, y'all get in order, and then they actually read this out to the class so that they're showing that those 3 main points have to be covered in the body of their demonstration. Okay, and that's all that we cover in the November meeting. Okay, so they have from November until February to research and write their project. And, you know, the overachievers may go on and do that, but we know how they are. They wait till the last minute, so a lot of them it's the night before or 2 days before their meeting in February. But anyway, we have given them enough information by the November 4-H meeting that they can go on and start getting their research done, writing their demonstration between then and February. So the only thing left is in January, we talk about you're required to have 1 poster to go with your project, because we talked about we needed a visual with our project. So we start off in January with, I'm going to give you 2 demonstrations this morning. We're not going to talk about it in between. I'm going to give them both, and then you're going to tell me good things and bad things that I did in my demonstration. So I pull out my first poster. Hi, I'm Sherry Hobetter, and I'm going to talk to you about water today. The watershed is a place where water runs to the ground. There are 2 types of watersheds, and they're open and closed. And watershed's very important. Thank you. Okay, my second demonstration is, did you know that 200 gallons of water go down the drain each day? And I go on from there and I talk about my demonstration like I would have done there. And then when we get through with that, we start talking. I'll pull out the first poster and say, okay, how many like this demonstration? And they're all ready to tell you everything that you did wrong on that demonstration. Well, I couldn't hear you because you had your back to us. Well, you put your hands on your hips, and you twirled your hair, and you did this, and you did that, and you didn't spend much time on that poster. All those points that you're wanting them to see. Because once you've pulled out this one, they're all going, wow. And so then they tell you, you know, you can see it, and you have pretty pictures on it, and all of this kind of stuff. And then a lot of them, when you come back in February, you still done this. It's like, did I get my point across? This is do not do. But, you know, it makes a difference, and they can see, you know, what you have done good and bad in your posters, and that's what you're wanting them to see. So then we go into talking about visuals, and what you want on your visuals, what to make it complete, because you're wanting it to enhance your project. We talk about what is a good poster. It's one that's gonna make you stop, read, and remember what was said by what's on your poster. We talk about planning your poster, and that your poster, it's okay to have white space on your poster. You don't have to go to the magazine and cut every dog picture in the world out and put on your poster just because you're talking about dogs. It's okay. You want your pictures to relate to what you're talking about. That's kind of what this is. A good poster should catch your audience's attention in a good way, not in a bad way, like my first poster. Okay. Then you want to talk about choosing colors. It's okay to use any color poster you want to use, but you got to think about the color that you're going to put on the poster, and that's why we on the second poster that we did it on blue poster board to show them. Okay, if I use a blue poster board and I put blue letters on it, you're not going to be able to read it in the back of the room. So if you want to use a poster color rather than just use white, you're going to want to find a color that stands out. And even if you use white, you don't want to use yellow letters on it, because if you'll put that poster down on the floor before you put anything on it, put a piece of yellow paper down on it, you're not going to be able to read it in the back of the room. So we talk about the colors. We also talk about lettering, and that letters have got to be big enough so people can see in the back of the room. The letters all don't have to be capitalized, but they need to be big enough to see in the back of the room. As one of my program assistants says, my eyes are old, and so I need big letters. And we're the ones that are important listening to you. So we do one where, which one can you read the best in the back of the room? I know these look nice and fancy, but they're hard to read in the back of the room. So you want to pick letters that are easy. And that reminds me, too, when we talk about letters, they can do it on the computer and print it out and cut them from there. Or a lot of the schools have the Ellison cutters in the Media Center that we say, don't just go in there and hand paper to your Media Center person and say, cut these letters for me. You know, you've got to ask, got to find out if they have an aid, you know, go through proper channels, don't just jump in there. And in our county, we also have an Ellison cutter in our office, so they can come and cut their letters at the office if they want to. Or they can do them on the computer, or they can do stencils, but we try to stress to them, no free-handed, or it's going to look like the first poster. We also talk about if they're going to do their letters on the computer, that they need to look at the font size. Because if you do it in this font, even people on the first row can't see it. So, and we, when I printed these out, I actually put the number of the font it was. So, if you want to use 200 font, it's going to be this big when you do it. So to help them understand the size relationship to it. So we also talk about not using rainbow colored letters, that those are hard to read, and things like that on their poster. So once we have done that, then they are ready to complete their project and be ready to give it at the February club meeting. And that's all we do in February is listen to demonstrations. And we're judging them. We do not have a county elimination. We go in and we listen to, we have 11 schools, we have like 43 clubs, and we go in and listen to all of their demonstrations. There's me and 4 program assistants, and then we have volunteers. Our master gardeners will come in, and there'll be 2 of us in each classroom, and we're listening to them and making notes and going through our score sheet, and the teacher's usually there grading them also. And then once we have a little system where, you know, this one's really, really good, this one needs to go to DPA, we put a little star on it or something like that. So once we have heard everybody, then we're get together as a staff, we go through all of those, we put in the ones that have done the best, and or if they need just a little bit more help, things like that. But we try to put them in the categories, fill the categories. If they fit, you know, in more than one, we can kind of fit them into those categories. We send a letter out telling them, congratulations, you've qualified for area project achievement. It's going to be on such and such a day. If you want to participate in this, you need to call our 4-H office by such a date and set up a practice time so that we can help you with any improvements before we go to competition. And then we also have, before that deadline date, we also offer a orientation where we invite all of those parents and children to a meeting where we explain what they'll be doing and all of that, so that the parents are kind of on the same page, because they've been probably pretty much lost all year of them coming in. So,
How many do you usually take to DPA?
well, this past year at at school, we have, like I said, like 43 clubs. We had over 700 give a demonstration at school. We took 106 to DPA.
Do you have any kind of reward for the kids that qualify to go to, like, since you don't have a CPA competition, do they get ribbons or recognition for?
We do certificates that are given out at Honors Day for all of those that participated at school, and those that go to DPA. We have a long day, we go to DPA, and then we come and we take them skating that afternoon. So we get all of that done in one day.
So you do your reward trip on the day of DPA?
We do.
Do you have more participation by doing it that way, you think?
We do. Because when I was having county project achievement, we just weren't getting the kids to come. And the last one I had, we were at one of the new schools, even though all the schools are just right there in Griffin. People, if they don't go, their children don't go to that school, don't seem to know where the other schools are. So this has worked out a whole lot better, and we're able to offer this to so many more kids. And we're fortunate in the fact that in our county, we get to go into all 4 middle schools too. So hopefully we can keep them in 4-H.
Do your teachers require that they do a
The
demonstration?
majority of them do. And they
so
give
it's a
them,
school, it's a class grade and 4-H.
and sometimes they give them more than one grade. Sometimes they give them a language arts grade and it may be a science grade or a social studies grade, or, in the LD classes, it's just them getting up and actually doing it, they'll give them a grade.
How do you have time to hear all this stuff?
Well, when we go, like if we have 4 fifth grade classes in a school, usually when we're having club meetings, we have a 40-minute period for 2, and then the next 40 minutes for the second 2. When we go in February, we start all 4 at the first time period. So, you know, that we're in all 4 classrooms at the same time, a staff member and a volunteer listening to them.
And then the whole class just takes that time to just... Do you know roughly what your percentage is of kids that qualify to go to DPA that actually do go to DPA?
Last year I had 147 qualify, we took 106.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
That's very good.
That's really good.
Unrelated to
Plus the fact that, excuse me,
well, unrelated to DPA, when do you do your camp promo for these kids?
March,
Okay.
because quota's not due until April, so we do it in March and have sign up at the end of March. So, but, I was gonna say something else about Project C, but I can't remember what it is now.
So that February meeting, your teachers basically give you more than that hour?
Yeah, we usually, it usually takes, depending on how many are in the class, maybe an hour and a half. But they're I mean, since they're grading them, it makes a difference, and it's just that one time. And since, you know, it's kind of like a test for them, and the teachers are okay with it.
They're graded on the way they give the demonstration, the whole process.
It depends on the teacher, how she grades them.
Do you limit their time in the classroom with their projects? Like, do they have to stay under 5 minutes, or you get that kid that just, like...
Yeah, once they hit 6 minutes, we go, but we have very few of those. You know, we have the 50-second ones, and you know, we have mostly 3 minutes, because we kind of tell them 3 to 6 minutes.
Do you let them do performing arts as well?
But they do have to get, and I may have said this, but they do have to get the teacher's approval on any project that they do. Because we tell them that you can't do anything that's against school rules to do, you know. Because we talk about bringing props and stuff like that. It's fine that if you want to get up and talk about gun safety, but you cannot bring a gun to school, but you can have pictures of them on a poster. But, so it's got to be approved by the teacher.